woman could do it. And I told her she did it overnight. She had started anyway because she does it. I came down and went to You're recording this whole My husband said maybe. Yeah. Well, no, actually he didn't. He was always leave the ER. Thank you.
Tell you how good you were. Remember me? Joe Glade. Joe Glade, yeah. Let me ask you a quick question. What would you and Ruthie like to drink? Can you speak for Ruthie?
Like a sweet red old-fashioned.
No, you didn't. I was waiting for that. Nice to see you. You did a good job of keeping wonderful secrets.
she was actually
I wish you nice to meet you. Everyone you are, I think you're come in and stop in and work with us. It's just wonderful.
I need somebody to say to me, open-ended and I never get it done.
Well, what I did was just to check on it.
And I know as far as America, because he's right.
And I said, well, so when do I graduate? And she said, well, I don't know.
There's your can, Karen. There's your can.
So they're going to the master's thing, I gotta do how many credits did you
And I think I might go
What I see right now, parts of the law, but I think that
You want the brave?
to say this is the model. Staff development and the development commitment to the model. The model is very, it's a child development oriented model. Well, because of the agreement of a lot of it.
It's all right.
For the people who ordered chicken Kiev, there will be no chicken Kiev. The management changed over, and the menus were just brought in a certain way, and they assumed those menus. And the management really didn't know that there was no chicken Kiev on there, and so all these things were translated into chicken. So for all of you, you're going to have the chicken, but without the tail on it. And then the management is willing to make the difference in refund between the Kiev and the chicken price. If you want your refund, let us know. We'll let you know what that's going to be per person. Otherwise, what you can do is contribute it to certain gifts that you
I think it's stuffed with ham.
Can I have your attention a little bit, please? We'd like to welcome everybody over here tonight, and we wanted to do a little something for Ruth. He's been a real special person to the Madison Indian community and to the school district over here for a big portion of our lives. And none of us ever got along with her and probably never will. But I wanted to be nasty tonight, but since there's this many people over here, I'm going to be real nice. But we're going to have a little slideshow, and then we're going to have anybody who has any stories about her. Just go ahead and feel free to contribute. And we want everybody to have a good time to visit and to drive home safely. And if anybody has any problems, be sure to let us know so that we can make sure that somebody will.
I have a problem.
Yes?
I can't see the slideshow.
They're probably a lot of wings, and they call them grandchildren, and our children call them grandmothers, and so we feel real good about that. And she always treats me very well whenever I come over there. One night, like, she says, "Come on over here." She says, "I've got something in the refrigerator." She says, "In a bowl." She says, "So if you're hungry when you get over here," she says, "let's go ahead and make yourself something to eat." So I got over there that night, and everybody was in bed. I looked in there, and there was one bowl with some food in there. It wasn't too tasty, so I took the mayonnaise and I kind of really mixed it in there. And I checked it out. And, well, it improved a little bit. And I chopped up some onions and a variety of other added spices. And after a while, it was palatable. So I ate the whole thing. And then, so the next morning, she gets up and she's looking around and rummaging through the refrigerator, really complaining. And come to find out, I'd eaten about 3 pounds of cat food. This is true. So she treats everybody real well. So, okay, if we're ready with the slideshow now, we want everybody in the family who has real intimate stories and who's real knowledgeable about Ruth to be sure to talk about it. We're going to have Dorothy and any of her sisters over here tell us about some of these good snapshots that we're going to see in the future.
Do you want to just wait a few minutes?
I'm leaving.
I just want to apologize for Ruth's appearance. I didn't want to give it away, but at the same time, I was ashamed of her. So I thought if I mentioned one thing, how it is if you kind of clean up one mess, the next one, you do something about. So I picked on her shoes, and I said, "Ruthie, aren't you going to change your shoes? Those are a disgrace." I said, "Oh, no." She said, "Nobody see my shoes." She didn't change your dirty slacks. But anyway, just see her as she usually is.
You're back?
No, that's not really true. You're lucky she didn't come in her robe.
I haven't seen the worst of it.
Okay, we're going to hope for the best with this presentation. On the way down, my charming husband explained to Jack that I do have skills, but this is not one of them. So I brought the flashlight in case the projector didn't work. And also trying to figure out why this woman would want to leave this wonderful job. Nothing to complain about. Wonderful executive work environment. Friendly people. And look at this home. A lovely spot in southern Wisconsin. The beautiful garden space, nice country view, trees in the summertime. And it's the kind of space where you can put your ladder about anywhere you want. No one's going to complain. She has ideal transportation. This lovely van with flowers in the front. You take a look at this, and it's a 1976. It's got 140,000 miles on it. Probably a cat inside, too. Now, this is the picture of the van when it was new. Quite a difference there. So she's got transportation, lovely house, lovely job, and friends, lots of friends. Looks like she's having a little drink of wine or something there. More friends. Now this says that this is at a party too. I don't know what the white light is on. Ruth has never been known to give up on a cause, and this is from the peace ribbon. This is Ruth's contribution to the ribbon. Notice she's smiling at that one. And this one is Dorothy's contribution. I don't know what the look on her face was all about there. This is Ruth at the peace rally. You notice a few buttons on her jacket. I know Ruth has a button for every occasion. Now this was the tote bag extravaganza. This was about 1981. Ruth had all her friends making tote bags for American Indian NAWA convention in Madison. Sometimes Ruth travels for reasons other than a cause. I think this was Florida, although there's some differing opinions. Colorado. Dorothy thinks this is Florida. And here's one of the cats. Over the years, Ruth has had many cats, and this one, I think it was the first one, this was named Big Cat. That made naming cats rather simple, because after Big Cat, you have Little Cat. Even if Little Cat happens to be bigger than Big Cat, it still makes naming a simple chore. And not wanting to outshine in clever names Little and Big, the third cat was named 3. And now, what are you up to, about 12 or 13 dozen? Although she loved cats, she always had kind words and a little something for the kids. Of course, she's also been known to mumble, "Glad it's not mine." This little one happens to be Leah Osterhaus. Yes, and she was born in July, so she must have been about 9 months old when this picture was taken. And of course the kids from Title IV. This picture's from quite a while ago. John Bodine, and I think that's Mary Jo Buffalo. And another picture of John. Here's another one of our Title IV kids. This is Terry Lynn Fox, who is a adult now. But I think she was probably about 2nd or 3rd grade when this one was taken. And this is from one of the powwows. It's Miriam White Eagle. It's a familiar kid. Yeah. Another Title IV activity is Henry Buffalo and Dorothy Ryan. Doing some cooking, yeah. Something Title IV did a lot of over the years. These were also from one of the powwows. It's Bob Danforth. Managed to get all the kids to stand on the edge of the sandbox. I think the next part of this activity was looking in the sandbox for coins. And Dennis White. This is Val Fox and Mary Green. This is another powwow picture, Janice and Kiana Bodine. And since it is Title IV, we can't just have powwows. We have to have a little classroom activity. This is Dennis doing a presentation at Shank. I think that's his daughter's cradle board he's showing you. But one more cooking picture there. Dorothy working on, I think, a turkey there. But not only did Title IV involve kids, we also had our parent committee meetings. As you can see, they are, we're having a good time, but we got a lot done at the meetings. Another picture from the parent committee. This is Benora and Glenda, and who else? I don't remember either. And this was a picture of one of our chairs, Joanne Wanatee, and Carl Weesey when he was project manager. Well, Ruth has been involved in Title IV since the very beginning, and at some activities she helped out, getting people out of the way of the screen, I guess. This was taken at one of the Title IV activities. Oh, let me get this one straight. Try to get them right. Now this picture is an earlier party picture, and I was thinking about this must be if I had a hammer. Now some of us have kidded Ruth about only wearing black dresses if she ever wears a dress, and I guess we had an idea where this may have come from. This is, I guess, the Sound of Music period, is this what we call it? Ruth in the Mountains. 1967, this was. Here it is. This has got to be the Sound of Music. And of course, I don't think we ever have a picture like this without the proud mom in the picture.
That's Florida.
Yes, the palm trees are a pretty good clue. There. Are they? So far we aren't seeing any problems here. It seems like a perfectly happy woman, and she should be perfectly happy with what's been going on. Now here's an earlier picture. This cat was probably named something like Cat. Not only have we kidded Ruth about only wearing black dresses, but we've kidded her about not wearing dresses. But we can see the earlier and there were a few dresses here. And this was what, 8th grade graduation, is that right? 1940. 45. And an earlier picture, yeah. I like that one. But Ruth always seems to dress well enough now in the winter, but I don't know early on. There was no hat there. Look at the snow. That's one. I think this is one of those things people talk about when they say, "Yeah, the snow was up to the roofs." And now Ruth has proof that it was true. And there's, it looks like a graduation picture or something, doesn't it?
That's my first black dress.
the first in a long series of black dresses. So we're still seeing a happy, smiling face. Now, looking at these pictures, having been an elementary school teacher, I would have to say that that little girl looks like a troublemaker to me. She just too happy. And here's even an earlier picture of the family.
My mother must have taken the picture.
Oh. And even earlier. I don't know if you got diapers on there. Yeah, definitely droopy drawers.
My sister's got hers pulled up.
She's holding them up. And even earlier at the beach. Yes, clothes hanging off again. And here's a very early one of a protective sister there. So we've seen a life of a person that appears to have had a very happy and healthy life, and why this person would want to leave this lovely and friendly work people, and always a plant or two around, and this office not exactly a lot of space. You can tell this is just a pre-leaving picture, because I think those boxes were actually in that office about 2.5 months or something, weren't they? I don't know if that was just to give us all a clue. Oh, we've got...
Oh, there it is without me.
This is what it'll look like when you're gone, huh? And we've got slide problem.
I'll get out of the frame.
Okay, try not to here. We might be all right now. Let's see. See if well. So what we've got is Ruth leaving. Oh, leaving a backwards picture of her mobile home. And where will she be going? Heading up toward this beautiful home in the woods. This will be what summer will be like. And see if I can get this one. Early, oh.
Tree leaves.
Yeah, the grass is pretty green there. And look at this in the winter. Isn't that beautiful? Well, I think that pretty well explains why Ruth would want to leave.
Ruth and her life would be welcome.
I'm probably throwing things down there, but on the slides you notice that now and then it appears that Ruthie was nipping at the bottle. Did you notice that? Sometimes the whole bottle. Well, when she first came to the University of Chicago, she was all dressed in black and white. And one day she crept into my room and she said, "The next time you go out, would you bring Sister a small bottle of brandy for medicinal purposes?" And she didn't give me any money either.
That got a little worse. I came down here in 1981, and one of the first things I heard was, I have to change liquor stores. They know me too well where I usually stop.
don't know by first name, on a first name basis.
Jack Daniels?
No.
I can't think of anything mean to say about her.
Oh, that's.
Well, I found out that Ruthie liked the color red and blonde hair. Ruthie always came to my mother's house and laughed. And I knew Sister, what was Sister's name? Sister Mary.
Mary de Montfort.
Sister Mary de Montfort. That's who I knew. Well, one day, Christmas, I came home. I walked into my mother's living room, and there's this woman in this bright red dress and a blonde wig, and she's sitting on my brother's lap. I went back in the kitchen and I said, who is that in there? So he says, that's Ruth. Who is Ruth? Turned out to be was Sister Mary Montfort. I always have it.
Having a little fun, that's all.
She changed her name when she found out about the Montfort stockyards.
Oh, they don't know about that.
Don't you know about the Montfort stockyards out in Colorado?
They smell.
We're a long ways down the road.
You talk about Ruthie and you picking at her about the bottle. We went to Girl Scouts one time and she said, I don't dare go in there in my habit, but if you buy it, I'll pay for it.
Gosh, did I say?
Isn't that the time she played pool with our star pooler and
I don't know, but she sure looked funny in that habit. Maybe that was Oh, really, I can't think of nothing mean to say about you.
Well, my story is we were traveling in the east and from coming back home, we were going to stop and meet some of her friends in New York. She was coaching us. Now, don't say Avon, New York. Say Avon. And all the way she was telling us this 15 when we got there and we met some friends. I said, how do you pronounce the name of this town? Avon.
Anybody else at this table?
I have something because you told me I had to. So I wrote something down, although I thought I just should. Well, over the years I have learned a lot from Ruth and benefited from many thought-provoking discussions. But there was a price to pay, and some of us are familiar with this. I bought Nicaraguan coffee, although I don't drink coffee. Honduran cashews, automatic pencils with Bible sayings, calendars in languages I don't read, buttons for all occasions. I've made tote bags, yearly donations to the Stockbridge Muncie sale, saved soda cans, paid for cars and flowers for sick people I had never met, eaten lots of zucchini bread, bought raffle tickets, never won a thing, watched videos on pesticides during lunch, grapes to breath. It made for interesting work environment. Yeah.
Anybody here would like to thoughts and interesting things about Ruth?
Well, I can't, I don't know what I can say that's interesting except that, just like I love Lucy, I love Ruth.
You can't think of anything interesting about her?
I can think of interesting things to say, but I don't know if I can say them.
So I just thought
How about you, Ron? The camera's on.
I could just add one thing, and it's very sincere. But Ruth and Dorothy both have enriched my life by just knowing them. Just wish you the best of everything.
Here, here.
Here, here.
Anybody else here? What do you mean
mean by that?
I'm not quite
Well,
sure.
actually, when we have something like this, usually turns into a pretty raunchy time and that sort of thing. And I really couldn't come up with anything raunchy about Ruth. But I guess I agree with Ron that, we really appreciated everything that you've done for our immediate community here in Madison. The Indian community is kind of a transient one. People come and go, but you've been here a long time and have greeted people and made people feel at home, and has been greatly appreciated. Your efforts on Title IV and working in the public school systems have really been the kind of activity that's really needed to bring our professional educational community together to look at differences in cultures and peoples and so forth. And that's very appropriate and very meaningful, and that is a very significant contribution. Very significant. Something that isn't easily seen immediately, but it's there. And I really want to thank you for that. I was thinking about different things that we could all do, or anything that I could do that would bestow great honor or respect and so forth. Thought long and hard about that and decided that probably the best I could do and would really show my greatest respect is to make you an honorary Republican.
Even the Republican Party does not deserve me.
Well, I've always known Ruth to be a really sentimental person. I ditto everything that Buck said, all the nice things that have been said about her at this table. And earlier she was saying, of all the things I've lost, I miss my mind the most. I don't think I do, though, actually.
Yeah, I'd like to say, my name is Mark Denning. I hardly know anybody here. She knows me, and this is like my family. And I was going to Marquette University and doing like public relations work for them. She snapped me right up. And she said, "This guy talks pretty good." I didn't even know who she was. I'm like, Alan Caldwell here. My uncle says, "Well, that's Ruth Gudinas." And like in Madison, to say Ruth Gudinas, she's like, everybody's like this. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's better than that.
So then I go to my uncle here. It's Uncle Alan, why is everybody like this with her? Then she says, well, why, Mark? It's because we call her Dr. Ruth.
I've been working with Ruth has been there, and I know it looks good kill. There were times I'd probably still be under those tables. Talking about Dr. Ruth. We all know Dr. Ruth. Well, this is our Dr. Ruth of multicultural education. And I just wanted to know, I broke every land speed record there is between here and Bemidji, Minnesota this afternoon. And that I think pretty soon every police department between here and there will be pulling in here looking for me. But I wanted to be here because I owe a lot to Ruth. And I do want to know, though, that on July 1st, is it true that you're going to have your own private phone number for consultation.
We're transferring her work number up north.
Wanted to finish by saying, and when you leave, I went to 12 schools here in Madison. Each one of the administrators, many of the teachers came up to me and talked about you and said, where is she going? Tell her goodbye for us. We miss you very much. So from at least 12 administrators, like over 25 teachers, 2,000 children, and myself, you gave me a chance to do what I do now for a living and talk. You're the one I owe that to. So thank you very much. This is a dangerous time for Indian people. And you brought me here to Madison to talk about to help defend our children. And see, that's how I see you, like a warrior, like someone who defends our children. And that's why I'm going to be moving here to Madison with my children so they can go to schools here because of the work you've done and I see in the school. So thank you for that and my kids too, my family. Thank you.
Anybody else there? Only you're laughing.
What am I supposed to say? I guess I just need to say thank you to Ruth also, because I think when I first came, that I really didn't like Madison. I did not like the flatlands. And Ruth and Dorothy were real help. And I remember when I first came back to Madison, and I was looking for a job, and I had interviewed with the dean of student. And so afterwards I had dinner with Ruth, and so I says to Ruth, I just met the nicest man, and it was really neat talking with him and her. And Ruth can be very abrupt and direct with you. So you slept with the director? What else did you do? Oh, did you? You never told me. No, truly, that Ruth has been very kind, considerate. And I'm really lousy at writing. I have all these, I can't even write a complex compound sentence, so can't even, all I do is run on sentences. So I've relied on Ruth a lot over the years, and I really appreciate Ruth and Dorothy for doing it for me and my family.
John's forcing me to say something. And I thought all day long of what I could say, and I couldn't come up with anything other than that when I first came to Madison, Ruth and Dorothy were the first people I met, and I felt a lot of support from them through all the years that I've been here, and I've really appreciated it. And I just wanted to give you this, Ruth.
Piece of food that fell in.
I just wanted to give you this because you're a very special person to me. Glad you came. It says, oh, I can't read that. You're so stationary.
I put enough of these up here, I won't have to worry about that.
Well, I just want to say a few words. It's John's I don't know if most of you know how Ruth became a doctor. It's actually really the result of her studying the Winnebagoes that she became a doctor. And it's really, I think, somehow that really changed. She retired and moved into other jobs, and I think that was one of the major reasons that sort of introduced her even more extensively to one of her major interests, which has been really an important impact on all of us here in the state of Wisconsin, and in particular Madison. So with that sort of historical note, I think it's really important that, to see all of you here honoring this fantastic person. There are a couple other things that I'd like to just mention. She's also been actively involved. I think another way in which she's been really supportive is working with every level in the community, not just Madison Public Schools. That means with a lot of our university students, staff, faculty, and in general, the Indian population of the state of Wisconsin. So I'd like to thank you for that.
And she gave me my first free lunch ticket when I went to school. I could do it. No, and she was very helpful when I first came here, and she got me involved in some stuff, got me in school and helped me out, and she's been very helpful to my children, and I'd like to thank you very much. Been very helpful.
Ruth, I want to wish you well. What you're going to go on to in the future. I want to thank you for what you did around here, and my children are benefiting from it today. I want to say thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to share a little story with you from maybe about 20 years ago or so. This was one of the first times I was around Madison, and Ruth and Dorothy used to get the Indian students at the university together once in a while, and we'd go out to some of the churches or community groups and give talks and presentations. And during one of them, they paid us with a $10 check. And so I had my check there, and at the time, 1969 or 70, everybody looked a little bit different in 1969, I guess. And anyhow, my hair was a little shorter than it was now, maybe, and faded blue jeans, and everybody looked that way. And I looked at my check that I had gotten from speaking at this group, and I started laughing, because how could I cash a check the way I looked, the $10 check, and there I was at, I don't know if I think maybe I was staying at your place in Independence Lane or something like that. And Ruth always, as far as I've known her, she's always found some way to do something if it needed to be done. She said, I can cash that check for you. So I said, okay. I said, good luck. I was just worried to throw that check away. And about 5 minutes later, she came out with her habit on and said, let's go to the bank. And she said, cash this young man's check. And they cashed it, there it was. She always found a way to do anything. So thanks for everything.
It's called throwing your weight around.
Makes everybody laugh. I want to thank Ruth for everything that she's done for my family. She's always been really kind, and also have a present for you. I work at a health food store. So
You never go like in the movies, you know.
Well, it's probably not going to be Nicaraguan coffee.
If you will.
Scotch tape. Good old fingernail and two. Then I said I could get
She really didn't want you to have it.
Do they have night?
teas.
Oh.
Suma chai tea, rainbow light, and female toner. Ladies' necessity. Revered by women of all ages.
By hot flashes.
Why do you think I finally took off my jacket? Whoa. Grandpa's Wonder Pine Tar Toilet Soap. My eye out. Natural beauty cleansing bar. Oh, wonderful. Chief's Delight. These are those Indian teas. Wonderful. All kinds of them. Look.
Read the name.
Oh, I have to read the names. TP Dreams. Good Medicine. And Indian Love Tea. With one buffalo following the other. Oh, this is wonderful tofu cookery. Guess what we're going to be eating, Dorothy? Thank you, Dennis and Cleo. Thank you so much. Are you still on those diets? Macrobiotics?
Not too much.
What you want to say is you're just not a purist. That's all.
You didn't find any brandy in there?
Getting too old for that. I need teas now. We go back a long way.
Yeah.
I noticed a lot of speakers.
When I first met Ruth, I didn't know she was the important lady she was. And I didn't even know who she was. Attending a workshop that Dorothy was giving out to the trailer. And we're coming in, and I don't know, there were about maybe 6 women, and we were all kind of following each other into the trailer. And there was this woman kind of muttering around and picking up and stuff. And I kind of thought, oh, what's the pushy white woman? And Ruth looks up and says, oh, don't mind me, I'm Dorothy's white maid. Remember that? That's true. She said it. But then I got to know her more, and she had me work with her in the Madison public schools, and that's where I really got to know Ruth. And we worked with the teachers. She took on the endeavor of trying to change history and rewrite it the correct way and include all the people of color in history, and it's taken many, many years. And I think she leaves Madison feeling and knowing that history is written in a good way here. And
Except there's one thing I don't quite understand. If you look in the Madison Public School history books, Columbus is Lithuanian now.
On behalf of the Madison Metropolitan School District Board of Education, we'd like to thank you for your years of service. It's hard to see you go. We're very, very grateful for what you have done. I feel you've worn many hats in my relations with you. Teachers for Peace. And I remember very much my wedding day, January 9th, 1988. You gave us your blessing, and then Dorothy gave us a basket with wild rice in it. I'm afraid it worked very exactly 1 year later, January 9th of this year, Jake was born. So you all don't know it. You have to be. She's got a dangerous look. But we appreciate very much what you've done for us, for our children.
And to my end, I should say that, I think Truly mentioned this, like how we've seen Ruth in many ways. I have to go back to like 73 when I was a student, and as a graduate student, there was this project that I got involved with over at the Madison Public School District, evaluating textbooks for racial bias. That was one of the projects way back in those days. Of course, I'm in a parent committee, so whenever I hear teachers say that, well, the textbooks, they don't, I know there's material and there's things that they're not looking at. I go back to Four Lakes Indian Council for 3 years, and we ran that was like the prototype of the parent committee in the sense that we had some jobs, and how did we, one of the issues that we had in Four Lakes Indian Council was a high dropout rate, and how do we begin, we had a tutor coordinator that we funded through SUDA money, but how do we get into the schools? And somehow we found a way that we got into the schools. And then as we got into the schools, it was like, geez, there's this thing called Title IV now, how do we do that? And there's all these guidelines, and how do we read these guidelines? And we were trying to find a way to do it. Well, we did that, and again, as we started looking at our affiliations with the Human Resources Department of the Madison Public School District, Ruth was kind of there. I mean, she wasn't out there to take the lead and do it for us or anything, but she was supportive. She's always just there, helping move it along. And as I think, as you saw the film, our slides tonight, Ruth has always been there, always that one little element moving along in a very positive way, helping us through those rough spots, always helping us to succeed as a community. Before the Indian Council, we saw a variety of aspects of our community struggle to try to do their various things in this Madison community. And again, Ruth was there. And I think, as the Four Lakes Indian Council came and went, the various efforts, now in the parent committee, Indian parent committee, again, as we struggle to do things, Ruth has always been there making a very significant contribution. Not necessarily always running things, though she's always been very clear with her advice. But she's always been there to support and to help the rest of us do what we need to do or what we want to do in terms of helping our children have a better day in this community. So again, from my standpoint, when I think back, I've seen Ruth in various, she keeps coming back. And when I was a student here back in the early, mid-70s, we all had long hair and all that. And when I was doing this thing with Four Lakes Indian Council, and now years later, Ruth has always contributed. She's always been real solid about it. You can always call on Ruth if you need something from her for an activity, for an idea, or whatever else. She's always there to suggest, to support, that help what we wanted to do in our community. And to that end, that's how I see Ruth, and I know that as Ruth passes on to her we're going to be left to having to make all these long distance phone calls. But we all love you and bless you.
Ruth, thank you for being such a friend of our family through the years. Well, I hear all this wonderful things about you tonight, and I'm sitting here with a guilty conscience, and because, Gwen and I go over and play, what's the name of that game? Trivial Pursuit.
That's okay, that's about as well as you do in the game.
I long suspected that Ruth was studying these cards. Gwen and I would we'd go home the loser every night every time we played, but she'd always choose, she and Dorothy would always choose the subject of entertainment. And so just one night they needed the last tie, and they were going down the home stretch, and I picked the card, and it was some ridiculous, easy question that we'd never get, It was something like, what was the priest and nun's name and keys to the kingdom? Well, everybody knows that it was Gregory Peck and Ingrid Bergman, Well, I made up a quick one. That wasn't the right one, Ruth. I have to confess to you tonight. I cheated. I'm not sure you were going to look in the book of facts.
Is that true, Gwen?
That's all right. Ruth has this habit. When we're playing a game, the minute this game gets and she gets a little bit behind, she gets up. She walks around and everybody quit. Touch their cards too over whatever we're doing. Cover up your tiles.
I bet.
Well, I think Madison's loss is the gain for up north, but I didn't understand you played pool, so I guess where you come from in life and to where you're going, you're moving up, because she seems to have gone from pool halls to school halls and now going to the bingo palace.
Yeah. In case people don't know this person here, this is Mary Natani, and she just moved over to Madison. She's Wisconsin Winnebago.
I just moved here from Washington, D.C., and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you, but my friendship with Dorothy dates quite a long ways back, and when you know either one of these two people, you know both of them, and that was my good fortune. I just saw this slide up here with they're making tote bags. In '79 and '81, I was president of the North American Indian Women's Association, and we brought the '81 conference here, and Dorothy was our conference coordinator. And I know that from what I heard during the conference that Dorothy and Ruth were the prime movers of that conference. It was certainly the biggest and the most well-organized conference of Indian women that we've ever known, and I wanted to thank both of you for that. And I also think you went to Washington for the longest walk, is that right?
We didn't go on the walk, but by the time we got there, they were there, and we were with the walkers.
For those of you that didn't weren't aware of the longest walk. In 77, the Indians marched across the United States, walked across the United States, and 3,000 of them made it into Washington, D.C. And there were quite a number of them that came to D.C. to meet the walkers, and that's when I also saw them. And so I know from knowing Ruth and Dorothy that they're people of action. They've got the courage of their convictions. And more locally, I know that Ruth has contributed quite a bit to the betterment of our Indian people here in the state. And along with being the nice person that she is, she's also got a sense of humor. And one of her favorite jokes, which I learned, I'd like to tell you about it. It seems that this young blonde girl was driving through an Indian reservation, and something happened to her car and she got stalled. So this young Indian buck came riding along on his horse. He said, I can't help you, but he said, I'll be glad to take you to the nearest station. So she hopped up on the horse behind him and hung on, and away they went. And as they were going, this young buck kept whooping, just making all kinds of noise. And they came to this filling station, and the horse came to a screeching halt, and she jumped off, and away he went, whooping again, and took off. And this gas station attendant was looking, what is all this about? And he said, my goodness, he said, what did you do to that Indian buck? She said, nothing. She said, I've never ridden a horse before, so I was hanging on for my dear life. I was hanging on for the saddle horn for dear life. The gas station attendant said, wow, he said, didn't you know Indians ride bareback?
Dr. Ruth would like to thank you for that.
Dr. Ruth, we tried to get, Alan came up and we tried to get him to do a skit on that, but even our most fearless leader in the community wouldn't even dare do that.
I know better.
Ruth, I'm so pleased to be here tonight. I can't follow that up. There was one Menominee Winnebago joke I thought about telling, but I better not. We'll have a warpath. But when I first came to Madison, I had worked I was the principal of the Indian Community School in Milwaukee for about 13 years. And when I first came here, Al Caldwell said, oh, there's a woman that works in the Madison Public Schools, good friend of Dorothy David's, who has developed some curriculum and Indian history material. I'd like you to go and meet her, because I was working at the time and still am at the Department of Public Instruction. I was hired as the Indian Education Coordinator. And so I thought, well, this must be an Indian. Because, I'd heard some things, and she's doing all this writing about Indian history and Indian culture. This must be an Indian. Maybe she's married to a white fellow with the name Gudinas. So I went over with Al to the school, to the central office, and then when I saw you, I got the same reaction. Oh, here's a white woman that other people might get when they look at me. But I said, she's supposed to be writing curriculum. I'd seen some material written by non-Indians that here's a non-Indian again, and writing for all these kids in the schools. Then I picked up your material and read it. And Ruth, I was so impressed. To me, you were writing as an Indian. And the material, wherever I go throughout the state, I present those people with that material. I was so proud of it. I felt this is a reflection of how Indians feel, of what children should be reading in the schools about Indian people, about Indian children reading about their own people and their own background. So I want to compliment you. I want to say that that's some of the most beautiful material I've ever seen and ever read. And to me, you are an Indian.
You know, Ruth reminds herself every once in a while that she's not Indian. Or we'll be in a group, you know, I'm playing or something, and something will get said, and she'll say, well, you know, I'm the only Lithuanian here, or something such thing.
Not only that, she talks about those white folks.
Not only that, we can be sitting around these folks and they talk about the white folks and finally they'll turn and they'll say, oh, but we don't mean you.
Well, half of our family has had to get used to that. There were 9 of us children in this family, and what? Better than half proportion married out of their race. And most of our mates had to get used to us talking about those white folks.
Some of my best friends.
You know, Ruth, I want to just say something as a former homeschool coordinator. Some of you know, just before I became a homeschool coordinator, Charlie Ballard and I were on an extended internship for a number of years, and it's a self-centered comment, but when I reflect back on that year, I think that was very important in my professional growth. I think it was a good thing, and it's been a number of years, and I thank you for that opportunity. I gotta admit that if Charlie Ballard ever showed up again, I'd like to renew my acquaintanceship. It has meant a lot to me, so thank you.
I have to say something about this young gentleman here. He's actually pretty old. And he's been in college for, must be about 25 years. And so he just got himself an assistant teaching position over here. And lo and behold, he teaches leisure time activities.
You just gotta do it. You know he has a classroom at the Crystal Corners.
You've never seen me there.
Go ahead.
Hi, Ruthie. Oh, I don't want to cry. I truly do love you. And you've been the best boss ever in my whole life. I hate to see you go. I really do. Whoa. I know more about periods and commas than I ever wanted to know. And I also have a great button collection. Lots of radical buttons. I'm into radical buttons. And Ruthie has lots of them. So good luck, and I'll miss you.
I'll send you some stuff to type, Karen.
Okay.
Well, I have to say, Ruth, that if it weren't for Dorothy, I would never have met you. I was Dorothy's secretary. And Dorothy and Ruth used to take me out to the trailer every so often so I could be out of the city. And I'll never forget looking for asparagus coming up in April, and I still can't identify it. But I'm still working on that. These two women have been the greatest mentors in my life. One day I was having a particularly hard day at work, and as my supervisor, Dorothy, called me into her office, and she said, why don't you go soak your toe in the lake, just your big toe? Well, then she went off to New York, and Ruth got lonely, I guess, and she had me come out, and I got to know Ruth a little better. And one of the experiences which taught me about Ruth's great sensitivity was when my mother died, and I was unable to attend because of my own health. So on the day of my mother's wake, Ruth brought me to that miserable little trailer, if you want to call it that had so much love inside. And I opened the door, and there was a card on the table. And the card said, "Life is changed, not taken away." And I burst into tears like you do, you know, when you're going through something like that. But behind the card was this huge bouquet of flowers that I totally missed for about 5 minutes. But on the lighter side, these 2 peas in a pod here, they would never let me, Ruth would never let me do anything in the kitchen. And I insisted one day to do something in the kitchen. And Ruth and I went shopping, and it was spring, and there were peas. And I think, I don't know, was that Swiss cheese or was that cheddar cheese? I said, Ruth, I'm talking to Ruth, I'm going to make the best cheese sauce in the world. We're going to put it on these peas. So I stuck the cheese in the pan, and I melted it. And Ruth came over, and she said, "Oh, it's looking a little weird there." Go away, Ruth. Now, this is my opportunity in your kitchen. And this cheese just wouldn't soften up. So finally, I just dumped in all the peas, and what we had was a peas with cheese, you know. Which I will never, ever, ever live down. But I thank you both, and I hope to come and see you both.
Did you ever learn how to make cheese sauce?
Yes, but now I have to give it up.
That's from a gourmet cook. That she is.
Thank you.
Okay. To Ruth and Dorothy, my life has been enriched with my association with both of you. In a world where there's so much confusion and chaos, there was always love coming out of Ruth. Ruth was always concerned about the people that this society has mistreated. The Human Relations Department has a nationwide reputation because of Ruth Gudinas and Dorothy Davis and many outstanding people. There will never be another Ruth Gudinas. Some people you can't replace. There'll be someone sitting probably in Ruth's room, but there'll never be another Ruth Gudinas. We have a I won't talk too long to see my wife. I know I gotta be short. I gotta be brief and be gone. But I know many of the fine people in this room because we work together. And the task of trying to make people a little more sensitive about the feelings of others is an ongoing task. It's a never-ending task. Sometimes when we would get down, Ruth would offer us a little bit of inspiration. That's what we need. We're trying to help others. Sometimes we get down. We need to be uplifted. I'm not going to preach a sermon, but we have a very diversified Human Relations Department. Ruth, I called her the bag lady of Human Relations Department. Every time you see her, she has but in those bags, she has something good for everyone. She has books, she has materials. She's always giving. I've never seen a person work from sundown to sunup. Ruth is in the office many nights at 10, 11 o'clock, sometimes 12 o'clock. We won't expect the next person to put in that kind of energy. But to Ruth Gudinas, to Dorothy, and to all of her friends, I wish all of you the best in whatever you decide to do.
Alright, well, I've known Ruth for probably about 10 years now, has it been? About 10, I'm like about, like in that picture you saw me, I was about 9 years old then. And we were pretty good friends with my mom for a while there when she was around. And I'm not sure too long you've been here because I come back this last month. That's the first time I saw you since then, so I don't think you recognize me. You did, you walked by and then they
I said, who is this good-looking Hulk?
Well, I remember trying to think of something I remember about us. So then, that time we were on that TV show, remember? So about 10 years ago, there was a bunch of us kids in the VIP.
Is that with Marlene?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, I know. Who's on there? It's John Russell, Jason and Justin, and a bunch of girls.
That's right, that gang. That's got to be more than. No, that probably was about.
No, that was 78. That was a 78.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah, because I was telling everybody I was going to be on TV. One of my friends was going to be on TV, and then then when the show come on, it was just to do it. It was like live when I got there. We did it on a Wednesday, and we just ran it straight through. And I didn't say a word the whole time. I was like, there was about 10 kids there, and I didn't know what to say. I just sat there looking at the thing. And then they told us that the tape broke or something. We had to go back 20 minutes into the show, and everybody had to remember what they said. You know, I didn't say anything, so I was fine. I think it was for Thanksgiving.
It was with Marlene Cummings.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. And then I watched the show before, and all these other people being there be behaving. You know, they would be doing on. Then, you know, being like Indian kids, there's a bunch of us kids being naughty then. So at the end of the show, come on, everybody jumped up and was like putting their face in front of the screen.
That's what I remember.
And they were just raising hell with us. Everybody's like, get back, and they were turning the music up. And there were about 5 of us sticking our faces in a different camera as 10 kids. And these, like her and my mom, and everyone was like grabbing us, pulling us away from the camera. And that's about the only thing I can really remember from it.
Great Title IV program.
Yeah, and I bought you a present, but it's parked in the back.
Oh. Does this eat hay?
You clean up after.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Mary Kay spoke on behalf of the Board of Education, and I just would like to speak on behalf of the principals in the schools. There's no central office administrator who's more admired and respected than Ruth Gudinas. I think that her contributions are going to make a significant difference for children for many, many, many years. I think her work in the last couple of years in multicultural education will especially be significant. The school district is better because of Ruth Gudinas, and I think that the education for our children will be multicultural because of the foundation that Ruth has laid, and for this we're very grateful. So thank you.
Well, as everyone here, I certainly love Ruth as a friend and have grown to love her more and more over the years and respect her tremendously as a colleague. But as Ruth has heard me say several weeks ago, as a matter of fact, the only thing I would like to say beyond that is it's a little bit embarrassing over the past couple of months as we're walking down the street and Ruth will grab a perfect stranger and say, do you know I only have 63 days till I retire? So she's still counting, but we are going to miss you.
Thank you, Jan. It's 62.
Lately, I always know when it's noon because it's 62.5. I really wasn't going to say anything tonight. I've shared an office with Ruth for about 6 years, and prior to that, another 4 years or so when our offices were upstairs, and so many of you wandered in and out over those years. But as I hear people tonight, I sort of thought that, you know, I had a special relationship where I got to hear so much of what Ruth was into and learn from her. And it's just amazing that all these other people that weren't sitting in her office for the last 6 years also feel exactly like I do, have shared and learned and been given and been mentored by Ruth. So it's really amazing to know that that kind of relationship widens into such a big, big circle. And I was also just thinking about how we're saying all these wonderful things about Ruth, but sitting in her office, all I hear are the frustrations, and I couldn't really get this, you know, it's not working right. You don't sit in that office hearing all of the successes. I think Ruth knows them, but it's just really wonderful to hear everyone tonight telling her the successes that we all see and feel, and the things that she's offered to all of us that will continue. So thank you also.
You should sit across the table from her at Daniels.
She finally found out it doesn't help to swear.
Anybody over here would like to say something?
I was supposed to say mean things about her to start with, but I'll just say a couple of things. And one from the Stockbridge Muncie. Just as nearly every one of you here had some help from Ruth on some kind of a problem or project, Ruthie helped us get our Stockbridge Muncie Historical Library going. It was a friend of hers who was a librarian. She invited up to help us take this mountain of papers, which was in my sister Bernice's house, and it burned. And it was just sort of a mess. And I wheeled it down and put it in the middle of this room. And her friend, at her request, came up and told us what to do. And I can remember yet when she picked up the first paper and picked it up, and she said, "Cow pool." And those of us who live in Indian communities remember back in the 30s. None of you do. I do. When the government had pools of cows, you could borrow a cow and have a calf, and you put the calf and you kept the cow, and you started your own herds. But that was her friend. That was the way we got that going. And we have a beautiful library and museum now. And of course, we're looking forward to Ruthie coming up there and continuing with us. And I think Bernice, who is our travel historian, Leah, who's our librarian, Sheila, is one of them. And the other part of it is that there's a depth to Ruthie, along with her giving, and that's love and friendship. She gives them. She more than helps with the project. She gives that love and friendship, and she's given that to all of us, and she's given that to me. And I just learned an awful lot about loving from Ruth. I've noticed, as I introduce Ruth to people, and a lot of you met her through me, I guess, that she takes off on her own. And at one point I was thinking that, and hardly anybody comes and talks to me anymore. But one time, I was telling my niece, Sheila, here that. I said, now, how come everybody talks to Ruth, takes her problems to Ruth? And Sheila looked me square in the eyeballs and said, "Aunt Dot, Ruth listens." And that is the truth. And I guess that is part of the loving. And I just want to thank Ruthie for being my friend. Okay? You're welcome. Okay.
Waiting for you to move home, Ruthie.
Oh.
Rummage.
One last comment is that I think we all heard tonight, how Ruth has touched each one of our lives and our spirits. And I guess as I was driving back today, I was thinking about that. And I think, to me, last fall at our State Indian Ed Conference, we gave Ruth our Friend of Indian Education Award. And I think we've seen that tonight, how her friendship has expanded. She's been that friend, not only to Indian education, but I think to all of education. And I guess on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Wisconsin Indian Education Association, I said, tell Ruth, thank you for all she's done for us as Indian people. And we appreciate it very much. And I'd like to give you something on behalf of myself and my family for all you've done for us.
It's real curdled.
Wild rice. Beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, Linda.
Tell the crew. Tell the crew.
We'll see you guys Monday.
Thank you.
Janice, would you like to say something?
Well, it's going to be hard for me to say anything at all. I don't want to say anything. Because Ruth has meant so much to our family. And I can start out from way, way back like George. and go way back to when we were students. And when you're a student and you move away from home and you come to a big city when you're used to being out in the country and not near a lot of white people, you're with a bunch of strangers when you move into a big city. But once I got involved in the community and I met Ruth, she just made the world a better place for me as a student. And a lot of times when you're a student, you don't know really where to turn, where to find a source of support. And that's what Ruth was to me. And both Ruth and Dorothy were that way, both as a couple, as a pair, as people sharing their friendship and their love to the community. And it's going to be hard for me to see both of you gone. It was hard when Dorothy left, now you're going to leave. And I don't want to sit here and cry. I want to be happy for you because you deserve to have all those wonderful things up north. And one of the things I've really enjoyed about having both of you around, and you, Ruth, is that I have a hard time trying to handle John all by myself. And you've always helped me when I did that. Always with the cat food. And so whenever he gets on my case, you always help me. And I'm going to miss that. That's going to be what I'm going to really miss a lot. And the things that you've done for Kiana and for me and for John. But I really feel like you're a friend. And although you say you're a grandmother and, great-grandmother, I always feel like you're more than that. You're everything. You're a child, you're an adult, you're everything that really people should be. And I think that's shows in the love and friendship that you share with everyone. So, and you're that way with everyone, not, from a child to a grandparent. I mean, everything. So, it's going to be hard to have anybody replace you, and I don't think there ever will be. And I won't cry about it. I'm going to enjoy it and think about you and the good things you'll be doing up north, and know that whenever I go up there, I have a place to go. That's right. Thank you. Thank you, James. Ruth, can I just... Oh, I'm getting all kinds of presents.
Well, we just want to thank everybody, and we wanted to give you something about how we felt in the community, and our testimony and our love and so on like this was that you've had the ability to come over here and corrupt our children thoroughly. Come off the reservation, and we got good fighters and people who stick up for their rights, and all of a sudden you teach them that there's an alternative to fighting, there's an alternative to war, there's other ways to handle problems. You teach self-confidence, and that we are world citizens, all of us. I've gone through that too, like everybody else has here. And so, when you leave, we're all going to come up here and visit you too. And hopefully it'll all be at the same time. But, so you don't forget us, we want to give you a few things. We want to give you a shirt, because we feel you really need it. And this shirt was made by Christine Littleberry Mann.
And this shawl was made by Diane Porter.
And so if you come forward, we...
Now let's see if you're down that.
Yeah. Big
We told them extra, extra large.
It was made by Omar
This is going to be terribly embarrassing if it doesn't fit.
it doesn't go with the shoes.
Oh, like never can. Sure do.
Yeah.
Get a picture of shoes.
She was still making
Yeah, make sure you got her shoes. I should start Don't move. Oh, my God.
Kathy, we've asked Kathy to do something. Everyone in this room appreciates everything you've done, and we definitely wanted to give you these gifts, and Kathy took very special care and put this together from all of us.
Humans did not weave the web of life. We are merely a strand in it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. Chief Seattle. So I'm overwhelmed.
It's just beautiful. Isn't it beautiful?
Am I supposed to say something? Thank you. We'll just have a little gift opening session. I'm not going to talk very long because this has been a very long session.
Besides, you gotta go camping.
I'm going to change my shoes.
Right now, Ruthie, we got all
Did you get my shoes? Sure we did. Get those shoes. We were going camping. Yeah. And this whole thing is just, it's as if this were a dream, and I'm going to wake up and Dorothy will still be coming down and we're still going to go camping. And it's been very unreal, the whole thing, and yet very real. I will never, ever forget these moments. One thing that's very, very hard, of course it's very hard to sit there and hear all these things, good and bad. Especially the good, though, because when I think of the work that is attributed to me, and this is true, it's work that was done by many, many people. I may have made it possible, and I may have coordinated, or whatever those words are that we use nowadays, but the real work was done by the people who developed the curriculum. That curriculum you looked at, Dorothy, was not written by me. I might have edited it, but it was written by teachers and Indian people and black people and Hispanic people. And I made it possible maybe for them to do it. But it was done, the work, real hard and solid work was done by them, and that's what makes it authentic and good and hopefully usable in the schools. So it's very humbling to have everybody attributing things to me that weren't really done by me, but I'll take it anyway, thank you. As I look around, I said to Dorothy or to somebody, as I walked in and began to see who all was here, I said to somebody, this is a most bizarre collection of people I've seen in a long time. I mean, there are people from my past and my present, and people, from up north, and people from down south, and people from, just a very bizarre group. But as I look around, yeah. As I look around, there's a story of mine with each one of you, no matter who I look at in this group. I could think of some nasty ones too, but there is a story with each of you. I have a very special relationship with each of you, and that is what I'm going to remember as I go on up into the woods. I didn't know I was coming to this, or I would have brought a stack of maps. to our house. Please don't all come at once, but you certainly are welcome. I think the happiest times of our lives up there will be when friends like you come from down here up to have a few moments or hours or days of peace. Not any more than a couple of days. Dorothy has a rule, 1 week, okay, but no longer than that, please. Don't stay too much longer than that. Or if you do, you might find yourself painting the house or stripping the front porch or whatever. But we do want to make you feel welcome if you have a chance to get up and be with us, because it will be terribly lonesome without you if you don't come and see us. So please do come. It has been a wonderful 16 years in this town, and you are an example of the great wealth that I'm going to take with me when I leave, and I thank you so much for everything. It's been just special. This has been a most special night. Probably the most special night since last Friday.
Festivities and partying, live it up.
House.